الذين آمنوا وتطمئن قلوبهم بذكر الله.
بإذن الله تعالى, the topic of sihr. What is magic? And I think the most comprehensive definition of magic in the Quran is the definition which we find in Surah Al-Baqarah in ayah number 102, which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَاتَّبَعُوا مَا تَتْلُو الشَّيَاطِينُ عَلَى مُلْكِ سُلَيْمَانَ وَمَا كَفَرَ سُلَيْمَانُ وَلَكِنَّ الشَّيَاطِينَ كَفَرُوا يُعَلِّمُونَ النَّاسَ السِّحْرَ وَمَا أُنزِلَ عَلَى الْمَلَكَيْنِ بِبَابِلَ هَارُوتَ وَمَارُوتَ وَمَا يُعَلِّمَانِ مِنْ أَحَدٍ حَتَّى يَقُولَا إِنَّمَا نَحْنُ فِتْنَةٌ فَلَا تَكْفُرْ فَيَتَعَلَّمُونَ مِنْهُمَا مَا يُفَرِّقُونَ بِهِ بَيْنَ الْمَرْءِ وَزَوْجِهِ وَمَا هُمْ بِضَارِّينَ بِهِ مِنْ أَحَدٍ إِلَّا بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ وَيَتَعَلَّمُونَ مَا يَضُرُّهُمْ وَلَا يَنْفَعُهُمْ وَلَقَدْ عَلِمُوا لَمَنِ اشْتَرَاهُ مَا لَهُ فِي الْآخِرَةِ مِنْ خَلَاقٍ وَلَبِئْسَ مَا شَرَوْا بِهِ أَنفُسَهُمْ لَوْ كَانُوا يَعْلَمُونَ. 5 or so points on the basics of sihr. We call sihr magic in English. And just before we start the 5 points, we just talk about linguistically, what does sihr mean? What is sihr, sort of in linguistically? Sihr, linguistically, is something shay'un khafi, something which is hidden from the eyes of the people, or something which the cause of it is not apparent. Something which is hidden from the eyes of the people and the cause of it is not apparent. And the essence of sihr we're going to learn through 5 points in this ayah or so. The first is sihrun, or as-sihru ilmun yuta'allam. The first point, as-sihru ilmun yuta'allam. Sihr is a knowledge which is learnt. It is not, as in the story of Harry Potter, that you woke up one day and realized that you are a wizard. This is not the truth. Rather, the truth about magic is that it is a form of knowledge which is learnt. You are not born a magician. You do not have a sudden ability to make things move or change or happen. Rather, you go out and you make a person goes out and makes a specific intention to learn this knowledge. But it is knowledge that only harms and doesn't benefit. وَيَتَعَلَّمُونَ مَا يَضُرُّهُمْ وَلَا يَنْفَعُهُمْ. They learn what harms them and it doesn't benefit them. So the first thing is, it's a knowledge. It's a type of knowledge. فَيَتَعَلَّمُونَ مِنْهُمَا. They learned from them both. So it's a type of knowledge. Secondly, it's a type of knowledge that harms and doesn't benefit. Thirdly, it is a type of knowledge which acting it or practicing it is kufrun akbar. It is a major form of disbelief and takes you outside of the religion of al-Islam. وَلَقَدْ عَلِمُوا لَمَنِ اشْتَرَاهُ مَا لَهُ فِي الْآخِرَةِ مِنْ خَلَاقٍ. And we have learnt that the one who, or they have known that the one who purchases it, the one who does this magic, will not have in the hereafter any reward or any share at all. Nothing but Jahannam for the one who practices it. So it is a type of knowledge. It is a harmful type of knowledge. It is a type of knowledge which takes a person outside of the religion of Islam if they practice it. Learning it on its own doesn't take you outside of Islam in the sense of knowing what it is and learning sort of how people do it, but practicing it takes you outside of the religion of Islam. And it is a type of knowledge which causes real harm, as opposed to what the Mu'tazila and some of the other people said, that it is nothing but illusion. Magic is not illusion. there is an element of magic which is illusion. As we're going to learn from the ayat of Surah Al-A'raf and Surah Taha and other surahs of the Quran, that there are elements of magic which are illusion. But what did Allah Azza wa Jal tell us about this element of magic? He said, فَيَتَعَلَّمُونَ مِنْهُمَا مَا يُفَرِّقُونَ بِهِ بَيْنَ الْمَرْءِ وَزَوْجِهِ. They learn that which makes a man and wife split up. That which makes a man and a wife split up. It may be that it makes a man and wife split up. It may kill a person. It may be done to supposedly protect a person. It may be done to harm someone else. It may be done to make someone love someone that they didn't love, or make someone hate someone that they didn't hate. And the essence of magic is, can be summarized in two categories really. Sarfun wa atf. Sarfun, breaking things and destroying things and repelling things and making things go away from each other and breaking things apart. Hada sarf. Wa atf, bringing things together and causing love where love was not before, and causing feelings where feelings were not there before. Remember, all of it is evil. So when we talk about atf, we don't mean like nicely making people love one another and afshu salam and things like this. We don't mean like this. We mean against a person's will, making them love somebody that they didn't love, and against a person's will, making them hate somebody that they didn't hate, or making them do something that they didn't want to do, causing sickness. That is a kind of sarf. Separating a person from their health, or attempting to bring a cure, and there is no cure in it at all. There is nothing good in it at all. But helping, sort of sihr for the sake of medicine, like they say, trying to make things right. This is a kind of atf. So as-sihru sarfun wa atf. It's about pushing away and bringing near, destroying and mending, causing hatred and causing love. But the summary of it all of it is evil, and all of it destroys your akhirah, destroys your any hope of Jannah for the person who practices it, or the person who has it done. Laysa minna. Not from us is the one who performs sihr, or the one who asks for sihr to be performed for them. Two are the same. Whether you go to the magician and say, I want you to make my husband love me again, or I want you to make my aunt and uncle separate and divorce, or I want you to make this happen or that happen, whether you go to the magician and do it, or whether the magician does it for you, the essence is the same. Not from us is the one who does sihr, or the one who has sihr done for them. So we learnt about this. We learnt that sihr is something real. It's not something which is fake. It's not something which is illusionary. There are elements of illusion in sihr, but sihr is not only illusion. Sihr can be done for al-qatl wa tadmir, to kill someone and to destroy their life, as was attempted on the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Mishtun wa mishata, a comb and the hair of the comb tied together, and the pollen of a male date palm with 11 knots in it, so that the Prophet ﷺ would die. And alhamdulillah, all it caused is it caused him some minor problems in terms of forgetting things about the dunya, thinking that he was with his wife when he was not with his wife, thinking he had been somewhere when he had not been, forgetting about some things in the dunya. But it did not cause him to have the effect that was intended. But the point is that the magic was done to kill him and to destroy him. And this brings us to our next point. وَمَا هُمْ بِضَارِّينَ بِهِ مِنْ أَحَدٍ إِلَّا بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ. It cannot harm anyone except with the permission of Allah Azza wa Jal. And we're going to talk later on, why would Allah Azza wa Jal allow this sihr to happen? Because it's an important question people have. Why? Is Allah Azza wa Jal not curing me? This Quran is so powerful, why is it not working? We're going to talk about this from the Quran later on. Ayat of the Quran that tell us why Allah Azza wa Jal allows this to happen, or why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala causes this to happen. But it only happens by the permission of Allah. And that is the essence of every single decree, and every single thing that happens on this earth happens by the decree of Allah Azza wa Jal. Allah does not decree evil for evil's sake. And that's why we say in an authentic dua, وَالشَّرُّ لَيْسَ إِلَيْكَ. Evil is not attributed to you, because Allah Azza wa Jal does not create evil for evil's sake. But any evil that happens, happens for a wisdom. And we'll hear about that wisdom later on from Surah Ali Imran, when Allah tells us why there is a wisdom in allowing these people to do what they want. And we've heard, وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَا لِكُلِّ نَبِيٍّ عَدُوًّا شَيَاطِينَ الْإِنسِ وَالْجِنِّ يُوحِي بَعْضُهُمْ إِلَى بَعْضٍ زُخْرُفَ الْقَوْلِ غُرُورًا وَلَوْ شَاءَ رَبُّكَ مَا فَعَلُوهُ فَذَرْهُمْ وَمَا يَفْتَرُونَ. For every prophet, we made enemies from the jinn and the men. Shaitan from the jinn and the men, revealing to one another, adorned speech and deception. And if your Lord willed, they would not have done it. So leave them in what they lie, what they invent is a lie. So Allah Azza wa Jalla, it only happens by the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What does that tell you? If you want a cure, who do you turn to? To another magician and say, you know, like they say, فَكُّ السِّحْرِ بِالسِّحْرِ, break the magic with more magic? La wallah. We turn to Rabbun Nas, the Lord of mankind. Malikun Nas, the sovereign of mankind. Ilahun Nas, the God of mankind. He is the one who will protect us against this. وَمَا هُمْ بِضَارِّينَ بِهِ مِنْ أَحَدٍ إِلَّا بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ. And it may be that Allah Azza wa Jal decrees that the sihr will miss a person completely, or Allah Azza wa Jal decrees that something will touch them but less than what was intended, or Allah Azza wa Jal decrees that it will have the desired effect. All of that is for a wisdom that is with Him subhanahu wa ta'ala, which we are going to talk about later on from Surah Ali Imran. And another point that's essential to understand from this or from this ayat, or from this ayah in Surah Al-Baqarah, is there is no white magic. There is no good magic. All magic is evil. Sometimes you see a person will come and say, I have, you know, sihrun abyad, white magic, or sihrun hasan, good magic. There is nothing hasan in sihr. There is no good. There is no husn in sihr. There is nothing in sihr except disbelief and evil. What is the essence of sihr? The essence of sihr is an agreement between the jinn and the magician. Between the jinn and the magician. And it is, what do they call it? I've forgotten what there's a name for it in trading. But it's an exchange of benefits. It's an exchange of benefits. And there is no benefit for either party. But it's an exchange of perceived benefit. So the magician says to the jinni, if you do this for me, I will do this for you. And if you do this, or if I do this for you, then you will do this for me. And this is often written down in a contract where they agree to disbelieve, the magician agrees to perform an act of disbelief, and the jinni agrees to use the differences in their creation and the abilities that have been given to them to cause evil to a certain person. So we just take an example. The magician seeks the help of the jinn. We've learnt وَأَنَّهُ كَانَ رِجَالٌ مِنَ الْإِنسِ يَعُوذُونَ بِرِجَالٍ مِنَ الْجِنِّ فَزَادُوهُمْ رَهَقًا. We've heard this ayah in Surah Al-Jinn. So what happens? The magician comes, and the magician goes to a desolated place like a cave or a forest or a bathroom or somewhere where the jinn are a little bit more common, and they begin to worship the jinn. And they will not receive an answer in 1 minute. Maybe they will wait for days and days and days without cleaning, without wudu, without salah, without praying. just sitting like this in their own, filth, and becoming filthy and dirty and making sajda to the jinn and dua to the jinn, until the jinn will come. And the jinn will say, you called me, you summoned me, what do you want? So the magician will say, I want you to do this for me. Now the magician, maybe the first request will be from himself, but usually the magician is not like this. The magician is a vendor, is a ba'i', a seller, a vendor. The magician sells his services to other human beings. So these human beings come to the magician and say, you are so powerful, you are so, you have so much knowledge, you have this control, like Sulaiman. وَاتَّبَعُوا مَا تَتْلُو الشَّيَاطِينَ عَلَى مُلْكِ سُلَيْمَانَ وَمَا كَفَرَ سُلَيْمَانَ إِنَّ الشَّيَاطِينَ كَفَرُوا. Sulaiman didn't disbelieve, but the shaitan disbelieved. So what do? They say, you have the power of Sulaiman, you have the control of the jinn that are working for you, and we need you to make a divorce between my son and my daughter-in-law, because I hate my daughter-in-law and she has taken him away from me, so I want you to make a divorce between them. Magician says, no problem, I can do that for you. Maybe he will take money, maybe he will just take fame. We know this because we are told about the magicians from the time of Fir'aun. Will we have a reward if we are the victorious? What did he say? Fir'aun said, قَالَ نَعَمْ وَإِنَّكُمْ لَمِنَ الْمُقَرَّبِينَ. Yes, and you are going to be from those people who are near to me. These are the two major motivations for the sahir. They want money. أَإِنَّ لَنَا لَأَجَرًا إِن كُنَّا نَحْنُ غَالِبِينَ. If we win, are we going to get paid or not? Tell me, Fir'aun, you're going to pay us, you're not going to pay us? Fir'aun said, Na'am, I'm going to pay you. And you will be from those close to me, status and money. Sometimes status, sometimes money, sometimes both. Some magicians will do for free, but they will seek status, to be in control. Sometimes they will do for money. They want paid, they want status. Those are the major motivation for the magician. So the magician starts selling the services to the people, and the people come. He's a holy man. Bear in mind, he doesn't have horns. He doesn't dress like shaitan. Maybe he wears a nice thawb and a hat, and has a big long beard, and he comes to the masjid. Don't be suspicious, huh? يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا اجْتَنِبُوا كَثِيرًا مِنَ الظَّنِّ. Don't be suspicious. But seriously, the magician, you don't expect to find him in the bathroom, and you will find him often in a masjid, but not a masjid of the people of the sunnah. A masjid of the people where the people are doing what they are doing and making dua to the dead and all of these things. And you find the magician in the corner, and he's a very holy man, very pious man. He will help you, he's a teacher, he's an imam, and he will give you some help, you'll give him something, or give him some status, and he will fix your problem for you. And this magician goes to the jinn and worships the jinn, makes sajda to the jinn. And if you watch some of my earlier videos, you can actually watch examples of this on the video. And I didn't bring them today because I don't want us to lose our time, subhanAllah. But you can catch them on the earlier videos of what they do, making all of this sajda to the jinn and all of these things that they are doing and worship of the jinn. But there's a problem happens for the magician. And the problem that happens for the magician is they run out of credits with the jinn. The first time the jinn will say, okay, you have to kill a human being. So the magician will kill a human being, and the jinn will say, okay, now I will go and make your divorce, or make your marriage, or make your thing. I will go and do this for you. The second time, maybe the jinn will say, okay, now you have to sacrifice an animal to other than Allah. And our Sheikh Adil used to tell us that there is almost never, or he said never, a magic contract that happens illa biqarabin, except that it has some sacrifice or means of nearness from the jinn towards from the magician towards the jinn. There has to be qurban, there has to be a qurbani, like people say. There has to be a sacrifice done, and the magician sacrifices. But after a while, the magician runs out of credits. The jinn are like, okay, you've disbelieved, you've left Islam. What you want us to do now? You think we're just here all for the rest of our life to just do what you want? No, you have to pay us more. So the magician say, okay, I will sacrifice another animal. Say, you've sacrificed an animal. Say, okay, I will disbelieve. You've disbelieved. Okay, I will put the Quran under my feet, or I will use the Quran in the toilet. Say, you've done it already. What else? You say, okay. He will say, my master, tell me what else should I do for you? Tell me now, I have done all of these things. I have disbelieved, I have killed, I have done the worst crimes imaginable, I have disgraced the Quran, I have done all of this disbelief. Now what should I do? The jinn will say, there's only one thing left. You have to bring other people who will do the same. Now you have to bring us more people, otherwise you don't have any credits left. You disbelieved, we did one thing for you, two things for you, three things for you. Now you have to bring other people to disbelieve like you disbelieved. So what does the magician do? You can't put an advert in the local paper, want to be a magician, sign up here. Doesn't work like that. What he does, he preys on the innocent people who are looking for a problem, looking for a solution. And he gives them some of these ta'weez. And he writes on some things and he says, you need to just bring me a chicken. Or you need to bring me an animal or pay for a sacrifice. And what is he doing? He's getting that person involved in disbelief. So he's getting them to play a part, whether financial or bring me this animal, or bring me some hair, or bring me, so that they believe like he disbelieved. When he brings another disbeliever, someone else who will leave Islam, and maybe in the beginning he will just give you a ta'weez, and then later on it will be more and more and more, until you will leave Islam like he left Islam. Then the jinni will say, okay, now you brought me somebody else, now you got some credits, now I will do something else for you. And the key thing to understand here is it's often not the jinn that they are seeking the help from who do the work. Because, like everybody, you don't want to be working too hard. So this jinn, they don't want to be working too hard. They will then force some other jinn, some smaller jinn, to go and do the work. This guy is the big boss. He's not going to do the work. He just wants the magician to make sajda, bring the people to leave Islam, and then he will say, I will send some of my jinn to go and do this work. But there is something subtle about magic that you should be a little bit aware of, which I think a lot of people maybe are not so aware of, to be honest with you, is that you should be aware that it's not just sending the jinn. Because some people say, well look, what about jinn possession? Isn't jinn possession, the jinn come inside, and what about magic? It's not just sending the jinn, but the magic words that are written, and the words that are said, and their ruqa and their tama'im, their ruqya, their incantations and their tama'im, the magician says, seal the jinn within the person, and they cause the jinn to be kind of in the control of the magician. So we have to understand that it's not just like, let me beg the jinn to go and do this job, and then this person will become sick. There's something more than that, and I think maybe it's something I've realized over time. There's something much more than that. There's a magical process whereby these jinn are locked inside of the person, either using their hair or their photo or their, some of their nails or their blood or something like that, and it's put together in a package, a contract with the jinn and some of the blood and the hair and the nails and all this kind of stuff, and it's wrapped all up together, and knots are made and things are blown, which basically make this magical bond between the jinn and the target person who is being targeted. So it's more than just a jinn coming into your body and causing you to divorce your wife. It's something more powerful than that, because the jinn is being sent by the magic and being attached to the person through the magic. If a jinn comes inside of you from their own belief, their own efforts, we call this jinn possession. We call this al-mas, which we talked about before. We call it jinn possession. When the jinn goes into the body from their own volition, their own attempt. It's from them themselves. They go inside of the person, and it's a little bit easier to get rid of the problem. And the reason it's easier to get rid of the problem is there's nothing tying the jinn inside. If you push the jinn out, the jinn will leave, because the jinn is not being in any way tied to the person. So you imagine some sort of animal, and this animal comes into your home, you can chase the animal out of the hole. You know, with the right tool, the right weapon, you can chase the animal out, and the animal will leave quickly. Maybe you'll chase it around the house a few times, but it will basically leave. As for magic, you imagine now the animal comes, but first of all, the animal is being sent. So this animal, maybe it's like a snake, for example. The first snake, it came by itself in the house. So you struck it with a stick and you threw it out of the house, you chased it, or you killed it and it left. The second snake, there is a man at the door with a bag of snakes, and he is putting the snakes in. Every time you get rid of one snake, he's putting another snake in the house. Or the snake is tied, like locked in the house, it can't escape. So this is the difference between magic and between jinn possession. With jinn possession, you have one jinni coming from their own desire, and you can get rid of them a lot easier because there's nothing tying them there. With magic, the jinn is being sent by the magician, and there is some magical process where the jinn is being locked inside of the person. And I don't mean locked like a prison, but I mean they're tied to the person. It's not that they're going to anybody. Oh, well, if you find him, get him. If you find his wife, get his wife. If you find his child, get his child. No, you're being sent to that specific person for a specific cause and a specific reason. And a specific set of actions have been taken to get that jinn to that point where it came. And there is a specific contract which has been made using disbelief and sacrifice and animals that have been killed to the sacrifice to the jinn, and blood and hair and nails and photos and whatever else, all wrapped up into a package which has been done to cause those jinn to afflict them in a way they would not be able to do by themselves. They would not be able to do it by themselves. The magic gives a level beyond the level of the jinn, which is the regular circumstances. It's something more than that. So yes, a jinni could come, and that jinni could possess you, and they could make you kind of feel like you don't want to be married anymore or something like that. But when it's magic, it's much more severe, because the control they have over you is a much greater control because of the actions that the magician has done. And of course, they only harm you with the permission of Allah Azza wa Jalla. And we have to understand something about protection and something about armor. Because when you have an enemy who is trying to attack you, for certain you can wear armor that will protect you. If somebody says somebody's coming outside to stab you today, you'll wear a stab-proof vest so that when the knife goes in, it will not go into your skin. Or people wear a bulletproof vest, or they sit in a bulletproof car. You can have armor that will protect you. But we have to know what kind of armor can protect you from magic, and protect you from the jinn, protect you from sihr. And we're going to talk about that in some detail later on. But what I want to highlight now is armor depends on the strength of the weapon being used against you and the right armor for the right weapon, okay? So for example, if someone is shooting a rocket at you, wearing a bulletproof vest is probably not going to help you if somebody is shooting a rocket at you. You have your armor is not strong enough for the weapon that is being used. Likewise, all of these, we have to understand that it may be that the armor is enough, but you still get some effect from it. You still get some pain or some problems from it. And this happens a lot with the jinn and with magic. You are doing some adhkar, some prayers, some things which are keeping you a bit safe, and it may be that the magic hits you, but it doesn't hit you in the full way that it would if you were the person who was, without any armor at all. And it may be that the bullet misses you. The magician tries to get you, but he doesn't manage to hit you. He doesn't manage to target you. He misses. And it may be that you are caught at a time you are unaware. You're not aware of what's happening. And so what you do is you have taken off your armor and you're relaxing, and the jinn attacks you at this time, and at this time it can be a full effect. So it may be that magic is done against you and you suffer no effects. It may be magic is done against you and you suffer some effects, but not as bad as it should have been, like what happened to the Prophet ﷺ. And it may be that you are unaware and the magic catches you in full swing. And the next thing that we have to be aware of is that magic develops over time. The best time to treat magic is the earliest possible time. If you catch it early, like jinn possession, if you catch it early, then you have a very good chance of making a quick recovery by the permission of Allah. But it's kind of like a cancer. It spreads inside of you and it becomes like a part of you, and it becomes very difficult to remove. And the biggest problem we have in Ruqya, the issue we have in Ruqya is people tend to come to you after the problem has been there for a very, very long time. Why? Because when it first happens, you think it's medical, you think it's psychological, you go to the doctor, you go to the psychiatrist, you take your medication, you go to the hospital, and then after a while you start to realize that this is not the problem. Something is happening here which is very strange and outside of the normal way. Then you don't know how to treat it. You start doing something, you're making dua, and you're not treating it in the full way that Allah Azza wa Jalla has given to us to treat it with. So what happens is, it gets worse and worse and worse. And by the time you come to the person for Ruqya, it's been 2 years or 5 years or 10 years, and this is a big problem. So one of the things we want to emphasize today, the reason why we tell you to do Ruqya for every illness is, not only is Ruqya a cure for every illness, but you can catch these problems early. And if you catch them early, they are very easy to get rid of. Very, very easy to get rid of. If you catch them late, they become extremely, extremely difficult to get rid of. And that's not to say you can't get rid of them. Of course you can. Bi-idhnillah. But it becomes more difficult. So for sure, a person, as soon as they feel any kind of being unwell, anything strange happening to them, anything which is not normal, then for certain, we want people to treat themselves quickly with Ruqya as well as medicine and other things, so that they can stop this problem before it becomes ingrained. And I think as many as 70 to 80% of people who come to see me were afflicted by magic at a time that they were not aware. They were not thinking about it properly. They were not realizing it properly. And so they were not doing proper protection. They were not seeking the protection of Allah properly. They were not treating the problem. And that's why the situation is so bad. And that requires repentance, to turn back to Allah and to repent for the mistakes that we made and realize that, we should have realized this earlier, and we should have been more aware of what these things were happening and turned to Allah earlier. But this is a problem a lot of people have. They only come to someone for treatment after the problem has become so bad that it's very, very difficult to treat that problem, and it becomes a big sort of effort to treat that problem. Whereas if we can get more people treating themselves earlier, then inshallah we can get over a number of these issues bi-idhnillahi ta'ala. Still on the topic of sihr, we want to move now to some of the ayat that deal with sihr and that deal with the nature of magic and the magician. And one of those, or one set of those ayat we can deal with is in Surah Al-A'raf. So I will get the exact reference. So we're going to start at Surah Al-A'raf, which is the 7th surah in the Quran, and we're going to go to around about, let's say, around about ayah number 108, 107, something like that, in Surah Al-A'raf. So this is telling the story of Musa and Fir'aun. And Musa and Fir'aun, no doubt, contains a lot of evidences and lessons for us about magic. Because at the end of the day, Musa and Fir'aun, of course, we know the story of the magic. So let's listen to a little bit about what we hear from the story of Musa and Fir'aun in Surah Al-A'raf. So we'll start with ayah number 106, inshallah. قال إن كنت جئت بآية فأت بها إن كنت من الصادقين. Fir'aun says to Musa, if you've brought me a sign, then show it to me if you are really truthful. Show me your sign that you have brought to me if you are really truthful. And bear in mind that the signs of the prophets were all in accordance with the knowledge or the action of the people at that time. So the people of Fir'aun, what were they known for? They were known for magic. And Egypt is one of the core places where magic developed. Egypt, also ancient Babylon, Persia, and certain places where the fundamental core of magic happened. Babylon for sure, mentioned in Surah Al-Baqarah, the two angels of Babylon. You've got Persian magic, you've got Egyptian magic. These are some of the core places where magic developed. So Musa is going to bring a miracle or a sign which is in accordance with the people of that time. So the people of that time were experts in magic, so Musa is going to bring a sign which is greater than their magic. فَأَلْقَى عَصَاهُ فَإِذَا هِيَ ثُعْبَانٌ مُبِينٌ وَنَزَعَ يَدَهُ فَإِذَا هِيَ بَيْضَاءُ لِلنَّاظِرِينَ. So he threw down his staff and it became a snake. In truth, in complete clarity, it became a real snake. And look at the difference between Musa and the magicians. The magicians are, illusionists, mostly at the time of Fir'aun. They are doing illusionary magic, so they make things look like snakes. But Musa brings a real snake. And he takes out his hand and it is shining bright white for those people who look at it. قال الملأ من قوم فرعون إن هذا لساحر عليم يريد أن يخرجكم من أرضكم فماذا تأمرون. The people from the advisors of Fir'aun, from the Mala, the people advising him, the advisors and the court of Fir'aun, they said, this is nothing more than a knowledgeable magician. He brought out this snake and this, his hand shining brightly. This is a magician. A very knowledgeable, alim, he's a very knowledgeable magician. He wants to throw you out from your land, so what do you command us to do? They're kind of egging Fir'aun on, like he's a magician, we've seen this before. What shall we do? So the group of people, they say, قالوا أرجه وأخاه وأرسل في المدائن حاشرين يأتوك بكل ساحر عليم. Said, let he and his brother wait a while and send out to all of the towns around to bring every knowledgeable magician. Bring every knowledgeable magician to this place. وجاء السحرة فرعون قالوا إن لنا لأجرا إن كنا غالبين قال نعم وإنكم لمن المقربين. All of the magicians came to Fir'aun. They said, are we going to get paid? Are we going to get money if we are successful? He said, yes, and you will be from those who are near to me. The motivation of money and status. قالوا يا موسى إما أن تلقي وإما أن نكون نحن الملقين. They said, O Musa, either you will throw first or we will be the ones to throw. قال ألقوا. He said, you throw. فلما ألقوا سحروا أعين الناس واسترهبوهم وجاءوا بسحر عظيم. When they threw down their sticks, they performed magic on the eyes of the people. And this is important because there are different types of sihr. This sihr was a sihr which is kufr, it was disbelief. And we'll see this from Surah Taha in a moment, that this sihr that was done was kufr, it was disbelief. But it was a sihr that was intended to cause an illusion. It was not a trick. It was not like they had their sticks were just made of rubber and they were like, you know, like just moving them on strings. It was real sihr. But sihr taqyil, sihr to make someone imagine something which is not really there. Please distinguish between two things. Distinguish between a fake trickster and sihr of illusion. The two are different. Illusionary magic is kufr, and it takes you outside of Islam, and it is done the same way as other magic is done, by worshipping shaitan. Tricksters who are frauds, who just have a, you know, like a piece of string and they're just moving the, you know, this rubber stick around with a piece of string and pretending it is a snake, then these people are not doing magic. It's not called, this is not called magic. This is called tricks, or, you know, like fake magic. And this is not kufr, but it is of course a sin, a huge sin in Islam, because you're resembling the magicians and you are lying and deceiving the people, so it's a major sin. But it's not disbelief, because at the end of the day there's no worshipping the jinn involved. They just have some little trick things, you know, like those people who have cases and they take the money and they close the case and they open another part and there's no money in it. These people are not using the jinn, they're just tricksters and frauds. These people at the time of Musa were using the jinn, and they were using deception. فَسَحَرُوا أَعْيُنَ النَّاسِ. They made the eyes of the people, magic happened to the eyes of the people. وَاسْتَرْهَبُوهُمْ. And they made them so scared. They made them fear and tremor, you know, in absolute fear the people were feeling when they saw these snakes. وَجَاءُوا بِسِحْرٍ عَظِيمٍ. And they brought a huge kind of magic. You know, the magic they did was huge. It was very severe, a very severe kind of magic. So what happened? وَأَوْحَيْنَا إِلَى مُوسَى أَنْ أَلْقِ عَصَاكَ فَإِذَا هِيَ تَلْقَفُ مَا يَأْفِكُونَ فَوَقَعَ الْحَقُّ وَبَطَلَ مَا كَانُوا يَعْمَلُونَ فَغُلِبُوا هُنَالِكَ وَانْقَلَبُوا صَاغِرِينَ. We revealed to Musa to throw down your stick, and it will eat up the lie that they have invented. You know, they invented this lie. The snake of Musa came and destroyed all of the snakes of the magician. Because the snake of Musa comes from Rabbul Alameen, the Lord of the heavens and the earth, who can create whatever he wants. So it is a real snake. And it is not the sihr of the eye. It is a real snake because Allah Azza wa Jal creates whatever he wants from whatever he wants. It's not difficult for Allah Azza wa Jal to create a real snake out